Sound good.
Hey everybody, it's Will.
And this is Thomas.
And welcome back to another edition of OK Boomer at the virtual spinner rack. Before we get into the very first Frank Miller Daredevil book, we want to make sure you can go over and get your outright geekery swag at bonfire.com/shop/outright geekery. And we want to give a big shout out to our sponsor for this video, Spinwizcomics.com. It is a platform for discovering indie and web comics. It is a free to download iOS or Android app, and you can read free comics. What more do I need to say? I don't have to say any more. Here's a word from our sponsor. And now, on with the program.
Back to Daredevil, the Marvel years.
Yes, I got this book in like an online auction. It was, like between like a 5 to a 6.5 copy, and a good friend of mine that used to be my landlord when I lived in Rhode Island, and he's a good friend. I've known him for years and years. He had just got married, and him and his wife bought a house, and they ended up taking in a couple of kids from her side of the family, and they were like younger kids, like 10 to 14.
Yeah.
And he came over one day to visit and have a cup of coffee because he was in the area, seeing how I was doing when I first got out of the hospital. And, about a year after I got out of the hospital, actually. And I scooped up like a whole bunch of comics, and thanked him for his help and everything. And said, hey, give these to the kids. I'm sure they'll enjoy these. But make sure they do their homework first.
Yeah.
And he's the teacher. He goes, yeah, don't worry about that.
Damn it.
But this was in there. I actually have this in my collection at my buddy's house. I was like huge. I was like a huge Daredevil fan for a long time. And I was like buying like back issues every time the store had, a store had a sale.
Yeah.
I'd buy like, when they go like, everything $10 and under in the back issue bins would go down to $1.
Yeah.
I'd go in there with every penny I had, scoop all the ones I didn't have up to a certain amount. And, if I had like $20 to spend, I'd get like 20 new issues of Daredevil. And I loved it because I love Batman, and Daredevil is basically Batman's blind brother from another mother.
A lot of it, yeah, especially with the Miller years. I mean, the Miller years, I think he really was closer.
Yeah.
I think earlier in the run, they were really trying to push that away and not draw that comparison so much. And he kind of got a little campy. And I've read, I don't know, I think I may have told you, I read somewhere one time that they said that basically the reason that Daredevil become what he was is when Miller was doing him was because Marvel was possibly going to cancel the book, and they really didn't give a crap. Because they didn't give a crap, they let him do whatever. And as a result, we have probably one of the greatest single creator runs on a comic of all time.
Oh yeah, I love his Reborn arc. That was
Reborn is insane.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite. That's my second favorite Daredevil arc of all time.
What's your first?
My first is actually a crossover arc because it's Spider-Man and Daredevil. It's the gang war story that crossed over Daredevil and Amazing and Peter Parker and stuff.
Yeah, that's like around Spider-Man like 280 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the one. God, I can't remember. That's the one with the Punisher's got the damn bazooka going to blow somebody away on the cover of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got the original issues of that. I probably have doubles on them, and I think about 7 or 8 years ago, I bought the, I spotted the trade paperback of it, and I grabbed that, on sale, of course.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the way we were talking about earlier. We've got to do everything you can to get your comic fix and save money. Like when I was, you buying Daredevil, I was buying them, on sale at the comic book shops and everything. But I actually got a buddy that lives in Canada that has a huge Daredevil run. He has a complete Daredevil run. I'm missing one issue. But me and him got together one day and we swapped doubles. And he sent me all his doubles that I needed, and I sent him all my doubles that he needed. This was, I don't know, a number of years ago. It takes a long time to get something from Canada.
Yep, and it's expensive as hell.
Well, hey, when you're swapping free comics, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know what's funny though? We were talking about this the other day. This is the first Frank Miller on Daredevil,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't realize that he actually didn't write this book. Because I always think of Daredevil as being, with Frank Miller, Daredevil as being, he wrote and drew everything for. I guess it's a couple issues after this one when he started.
Yeah, they didn't let him. They wouldn't let him write. They just wanted him to draw, and they introduced him on the inside page in that bottom corner.
Yeah.
I have a good feeling about this kid. He's pretty good.
Yeah, we'll take a look at this wonderful cover for everybody, and then we'll go to the inside that Will was talking about. Yeah, right there.
Yep.
I love how they have all the names. I wish they still did stuff like this. And I know
you wouldn't know because you're not a DC guy, but in the new DC heavy metal series, the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo thing, they do this goofy name thing like in every issue, and they change it every issue. So it cracks me up. I go, oh my God, I haven't seen this in so long.
Well, the thing is I mean, especially like Miller here, he was trying to make kids, comics more adult, but they still realized that, kids were reading them. And, the little name thing, and this is from 79, right? So this is way after the 60s. Mm-hmm. But it's, it's just one of those things that reminds you that comics were a kid's medium originally. They were a child's medium and, have grown up. And now honestly, now modern comics are probably too adult.
Yeah.
I mean, they want to tackle all these, and they tackled serious issues back in the day, but now they tackle all this crap and, they've priced themselves to, where kids can't buy them. They've gone to the direct market only. You can't find them every damn where, when we were little, being from rural Georgia, we never had comic book shops. I didn't see a comic book shop till I went to college in the early 90s. And, but I could go to the gas station and buy comics. And all that's gone. And when you take the product, when you cut off half the market for your product, of course sales are going to go down.
Well, a lot of what happened is when the bigger distributors came in, like, Dirty Diamond and all, they cut out, they cut out all the newsstand stuff pretty much because I think the only thing that I've ever seen comics in like the last 20 years, and besides they just started putting them before Toys R Us went out of business, they started putting some comics in Toys R Us again, and we saw how that went. And then they started putting like the 100-page things in Walmart. And people going around, and just getting trashed, and then nobody wants to buy them because they're trashed because the husbands and the kids are all sitting there reading the comic books while the wife's taking 3 years to go next door to Target and buy school clothes or something.
Well, see, and bringing up Target, and I can't remember. Me and my wife, we've been married for 22 years this year. So that's a long time.
Almost half my life.
Half of your life, yeah, 22 years. And I can't remember when it was, but it was probably 15, 16 years ago. We were visiting her family. They live in Orlando. And we went into a Target there, and it was absolutely amazing because this is 15, 16 years ago, but they were actually comics in Target on the stand. You could just go by. And, I've been to Target back and I've never seen it again, but it was just funny that, there it is in Orlando, Florida. You can buy comics still on the newsstand. And,
yeah, I think they pulled the whole comic deal out of Walmart, and they had started doing a different version of that in Target. And they made it so you could only buy these books in those two stores. But what they were doing is they were only giving you like 14 pages of new story in each one. The rest of it was all reprint.
Yeah.
So, and they were charging $10 a piece for them. So you're paying $10 for 14 pages of story, and then you got to hope you can get the next one and the next one and the next one to keep continuing with the story. And then after all is said and done, they took all the books that didn't sell, and there were tons of them.
Yeah.
And they wrapped these $10 issues in a 10-pack, and then sold what would have been $100 cover price for these books at the original $10. It was, and then they turned around and said, well, you can only get this story at, if you go and buy them at Walmart or blah, blah, blah. And then 6 months after these were all out, DC turned around and reprinted.
Yep.
Started reprinting the stories so that they would take, the story from issue 1 and the story from issue 2 and put it in one book. So that would be about, 22 pages worth of stuff. And they reprinted it and put it on there. It's like, well, you can either buy the original one that is, laid down with all reprint stuff, and some of it was good. I had a couple of the, I think I had 1 or 2 of the Swamp Things because I love Swamp Thing, and that was cool because you were getting, the stuff they were reprinting was from the 60s and early 70s. And, it wasn't, even though it was Swamp Thing, it wasn't always from a Swamp Thing, it wasn't always a story from a Swamp Thing book.
No.
Sometimes it was a backup story with Swamp Thing and something else. And sometimes it was just, like a House of Mystery thing, but starring Swamp Thing.
Well, see, and that's the thing we talk about, we're older, so we're talking about comics back in the day and new stuff. But you remember, DC was notorious about it. You try and buy them now for good prices. You remember the DC Giants, the 100-page reprint books?
Oh yeah, they're like $50 to $100 now
a piece, if you can.
Yeah.
And they're, you get a condensed, maybe a 15 to 16 page Batman story in them, because I buy the Batmans and detectives when I can find them, and the Supermans. And then
I know you bought one off me.
4, I think I did.
Yeah, you did.
Get 4 backup stories in there. But if you go to look for those now, they're crazy. But Marvel did the same thing. If you look, Marvel didn't do it in their line like DC did with the 100-page Giants. Marvel did, if you go back to the days, Marvel had, Marvel Tales originally started as that. It was, they were like 4 issues in one. And, there's, for people that are tuning in that have, never, really looked at collectible reprint comics, there's one I'm trying to get there. It's called Marvel Tales Annual Number 1. And then a really nice one is going to set you back $300 or $400. But if you buy it, it reprints first Spider-Man. I think it's Spider-Man, Ant-Man, the Hulk, and maybe Iron Man. Iron Man or the Avengers, all in one book. And then Marvel waited a year and they did issue 2. I've got issue 2, and it's all the origins. But that's what keeps people coming back.
Oh yeah. So I just want to read this because I know most people won't be able to see it on their screen, especially if they're watching like on their phone or something. So it says, from time to time, a truly great new artist will explode upon the Marvel scene like a bombshell. That word needs to be changed, because to me, bombshells are like,
Hotties.
Yeah. Well, like DC had the Bombshell series, and It was, that like old school flavor of, all the girls. Ramblin' Roger McKenzie. This one slayed me. Kinky Claus Jansen. Really, Claus?
Yeah, but is there something we need to know, man?
So I kind of want to get one of my copies of this when conventions go back around, and if he's at like New York Comic Con or something, I'm like, it's a pleasure to meet you. Yeah, I got a question for you. In Frank's first issue of Daredevil here, they're calling you Kinky Claus Jansen. He goes, well, not that kind of kink.
Well, the thing is, you could probably ask Frank if you run into him, because remember, Claus Jansen becomes his anchor forever.
Yeah, I know.
Inks everything.
And then took him with him to do Dark Knight Returns at DC.
Yes, he did.
And then we have, after Kinky Claus Jansen, we have Joe Rosen, Giaroso, Amable Al Milgram, Jim Troubleshooter.
Come on now.
Confidentially predict newcomer Lanky Frank Miller. See, well, that makes sense. Is just such an artist. So when we blow this page back up, we have the lady in the lovely lady in the green dress is actually Black Widow.
Yep, Black Widow. She has come to. I didn't realize that this is of course, it's a continuation from the last issue, but apparently the mutant men. He actually says it right here. Yeah, last issue, the Unholy Three stormed the Lower East Side offices of Nelson and Murdoch. Their objective: capture Matt Murdock. And now that you know where we stand, let action lovers, let's go. Dude, this is so cool because, like I said, every issue now you got to have all that. No, it's a comic book. You read the little snippet and you get in it, and that's exactly what they did. Mm-hmm. But Black Widow shows up.
Matt Murdock's got all kinds of woman problems.
Dude, and they're all on display here. I don't know if you saw the little clip. We'll get to it in a minute. I put online earlier. I'm like, holy crap. Yeah. This is why he has such issues. I mean, my God, there's 3 women that you have had relationships with in this one panel, and all of them are like, oh God, I hope Matt's going to be all right. Yeah, Matt's going to be all right. He's
and one of them he's still having a relationship with, the young lady in the wheelchair.
Yeah,
and
he's still.
I'm like, man, I should have become blind instead of crippled, because I might have a better chance with the ladies. I'm like, come on.
Well, and the thing that's funny is, you read this, there's certain things we always talk about in our new issues. We want different, but we want the same. If you read, the first issue of the new Daredevil run by Chichito, I don't know how you say his name. But Daredevil like goes to a bar and he's drunk, or Matt Murdock goes to a bar and he's getting drunk, and he picks up a lady and takes her home for a one-night stand. I'm like, and he's like, I'll call you, and he sleeps with her. I'm like, Daredevil, man, keep your pants on, dude. You've got so many women, and half of them want to kill you afterwards.
Well, that's the reality check of the comic book right there.
That half of them want to kill him afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason they call her Typhoid Mary, people.
Tell me about it.
But yeah, so there's Natasha. She's come back right after they attack, and then she leaps into action.
Yeah, in high heels and a dress.
Hey, look,
she don't care.
No,
she don't care. She'll whip somebody's ass no matter what.
Yes, she will. Yes, she will.
And Foggy's been hurt, so Foggy has the other three women of Murdoch's harem there, trying to help him and take care of him.
His harem.
As well, what else are you gonna call it? And these three freakazoids are grabbing Murdoch and pulling him out the window.
When the whatever you want to call these people, they call it the Unholy Three when they first appeared, right? Mm-hmm. It's like Daredevil 10. Like, holy crap. These people are from Daredevil 10. I think it's 10 and 11 they're in. And, now we're 158. And there's even a little callback in this issue later on. I'll point it out to everybody when we get to it, where they talk about an earlier issue. And I'm like, wow. And that's the continuity that I love.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
No.
Because every artist or creative team that takes over a book, they're all superstars and they all have to have their own run, which doesn't mean, it used to mean, well, I'm going to take over this book from this issue to this issue. Great. No. I want my own number one and, 4,700 variant covers and blah, blah, blah. I'm like so close to, quitting all my comics. I think right around the time that the Hulk series stops at 50, the Immortal Hulk, when that ends, I think I'm going to drop all my new books.
Well, they need to, when it gets to 50, they just need to go ahead and start a new creative team if they're going to do that, and issue 51. If they want to change the title back to the Incredible Hulk, I'm fine with that. But that's the way they used to do it. I mean, if people remember, and I know I'm sure you don't remember, but you know what I'm talking about. Like we had Tales to Astonish, Journey into Mystery, all of those. And, Tales to Astonish become the Incredible Hulk at 102. And then frickin' Namor got kind of kicked to the side, but Namor got his own book, Submariner number 1. Journey into Mystery become Thor at 126. Tales of Suspense become Captain America 100. We don't need to change all this, because I was actually organizing comics the other day, especially Marvel, and I was trying to get the Avengers in line. There are so many new Avengers number 1 comics. It's stupid trying to figure out which direction they go in.
Yep.
And I was trying to match up artists, but, I don't know.
Good luck.
Yeah. So Natasha hops in here and she starts attacking these people, and Gorilla Man grabs her by the hair and knocks her out. And they've already, like I said, you earlier talked about, they've already pimp slapped Foggy, so he's conscious. And so he's beating up Natasha and everything. And then Max is like, oh, please, I'll go with you. Do whatever you want. Just don't harm the others. So they're like, okay, cool. He's going to quit fighting, so we're going to haul butt with him. And then his Matt's girlfriend in the wheelchair takes it. Looks to be a brick or something sitting on the desk. I was thinking,
it's a nameplate.
nameplate.
It's one of those old wooden nameplates.
And she whacks the hell out of Birdman. So he don't quite make it out the window. And then Natasha goes after him. And then, she's the Black Widow. So she uses the Widow bite and knocks his ass out. And
she rips his wings off.
Yeah, she whips his rings off and knocks him out. And he falls to the ground. And Gorilla Man and Catman haul butt with Matt. What's funny reading this, and, we're going on, because originally I was like, well, I couldn't remember why she was there. And, right here she tells you, he says, why she come back to see Matt in the last issue? A team. Matt and I were a team a long time ago. It started in issue 81, people. And I returned to New York. Maybe we could start over. Things would be different this time. I can't remember why they broke up, but they did. But so she's come back to rekindle old flames, and she thinks it's all her. But everything the Black Widow still destroys, or she destroys everything she touches.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not you. It's somebody else, lady. Quit thinking it's you. Oh, talk about women in comics and relationships and everything else. Did you see that they're announcing that in the new book that Thor and She-Hulk are now going to be a team? They're a couple.
Get out of here with that garbage.
Okay. The only thing that got me on that dude is, and longtime fans, especially Marvel She-Hulk fans, She-Hulk is like Tony Stark, only the female version of Tony Stark. She gets more tail than a toilet seat. I understand Thor's a god, but there are things that, that won't come off unless her gamma radiation clears all that.
Oh, here's some. Let me throw another bit of She-Hulk news in. Disney Plus cast an actress to play She-Hulk who is 5'3".
Really?
And the first comment I saw on this article was on this thread was, guess they're going to be using a shit ton of special effects on this one, huh? Look at She-Hulk, but she can't reach the top shelf in the kitchen.
You should have cast her as Kitty Pryde. I don't know.
I mean,
oh my.
I didn't know the actress by name. Obviously, she's a beautiful girl. Because when's the last time you saw somebody ugly? When's the last time you saw an ugly woman get cast in a role? Really?
Yeah. Unless it's the villain.
the villain, or if it's a sitcom. But I'm just like 5'3", really?
For She-Hulk? Yeah, no, it shouldn't be that. So
it's like, look, I'm 5'3" sitting in my wheelchair, but I stand up and I'm 6'3".
Yeah.
Oh, and also, but they are canceling Immortal Hulk at 50.
I have read that.
The follow-up is they're going to restart the series, but it's not going to be. I don't know what exactly they're doing with Hulk, but they're starting up Immortal She-Hulk.
Well, that was something I kind of figured out that was new, and that's part of the thing that if anybody's read the Immortal Hulk, that Ewing has really injected some new stuff into the series and brought the characters up. I keep hoping for a return of the Red Hulk myself, because Thunderbolt Ross is alive and he's in the Captain America books. But there was a time years and years ago, I actually saw him the other day when I was straightening up comics, when the Red Hulk and Machine Man were going across the country, and it was by Pack, and I can't remember who else was the artist on it, but Pack was the writer. And that was an incredible run, and really cemented for me Red Hulk as a character.
I really liked it when they put him with some of the other big names that were like all like solo people, and they put him back in the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, Thunderbolt. You're talking about Thunderbolt. I actually have. I'll take a picture of it and send it to you later. I don't have it with me now. It's in the room. But that was by, I think Daniel Way was the author, or maybe it was Hickman was the author. Anyway,
Hickman, I
but
think.
I loved that series, and I have the whole run. And I met him at one of the cons I attended a couple years ago, and I actually got him to sign it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's number one on the pull list, John.
Yes, it is number one. However, I don't know if you want to retire, John. Thor may be the book to buy now because apparently Thor 6 has went crazy. If you hadn't seen the prices.
Yeah, I supposedly snagged one from a buddy of mine because he was showing off stuff for his. He's retired military, and
Thor's great.
He's disabled too, so him and his wife go to like the local. They live out in California, and they go to his comic shop, and they buy a bunch of stuff, and then they turn around and sell it on the auctions. But the Silver Surfer book that we dove into when we first started this show, of the Rainbow Bridge and Thor, that epic cover, they did a variant on Thor 6.
I saw that one
with Silver Surfer Black and Thor, but they were both enveloped in like all the black cosmic stuffy.
Sweet. Yeah, so, I have to pre-order my comics online 3 months in advance, so I pay for them 3 months before they ever show up. And the only thing nice about that is, I paid like $2. I get them from, I don't know if we're gonna give them a shout out, but I get it from a discount online seller, and I pay like $2.40 for that issue, and it shows up, and people are going crazy for it online. So I go to look, and I'm like, this is $50. It was $2.40 is what I paid for it. I opened it up, I read it, I put it in the bag, and I put it up, and it's already worth $50.
What? So look out! They're gonna grab your books and put them on eBay right now,
dude. They keep telling me all the time they're gonna do that. That's why I normally don't live out any values. It's not worth anything. Just leave it right there. It'll be okay. I'm telling you, when I die and they sell them all, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna haunt people. You thought Poltergeist was bad? They got to bring in the damn ghost hunters. They ain't even gonna make it to the house. I'll be turning over cars in the damn yard. But we get to this issue after back to this page after Black Widow is taking out Birdman, and the other two people just haul butt. They're taking Murdoch.
Yeah, they take Murdoch and just hightail it out of there. Leave the fake Hawkman with no wings out cold and just go. And then they at the bottom here they tell Natasha, Foggy's hurt real bad, we need your help.
Yep. But this is the part I put online earlier for people. It says so Natasha says, I've got to follow him before it's too late if I can, and I can't remember. This is Helen, I think it is. Heather. This is Heather. And she's like, Natasha, wait. Yeah. Heather. Natasha, wait. Foggy's hurt. He needs your help. Besides, we both know that Matt can take care of himself if anyone can. And, Black Widow's like, Matt can? By Lennon's beard. Does Heather know? That's going to be my new saying. Everybody's going to be like, by Lennon's beard. By Lennon's beard. Is that chicken cold? Oh, Foggy, what have I done? And then this lady right here is operator emergency, get me to police. This is his Matt's current love interest in the wheelchair.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't remember.
So let me be crude and say there's 2.5 women in the room with unconscious Foggy, but they need Natasha's help.
Yeah.
Why? Is she a field medic too? I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, she did a lot of time in the war. But yeah, so she's like, "Oh, if Matt, if anything happens to you," I'm like, "Really? This is why he has so many problems. He has slept with all three of these women."
Daredevil's a hoe.
Yes, he is.
My hero.
Damn it. So meanwhile, so Catman and Gorilla Man are running away, and I love how he says this. I can smell the Matt's like I can smell hemp. They must be crossing a rope, okay? And then he hears the wind at the Flatron building, uh, which is cool.
Yeah,
I love it.
the Flatiron build. That's cool. He's like, we must be crossing on a rope. I can smell hemp.
Yep.
Look, buddy, you're in New York. You're in Brooklyn. If you can smell hemp, that just means somebody's smoking some weed somewhere.
Is that what it is? Yeah, they're headed uptown.
Where's Ryan? Never mind.
Right. They go, we finally find out why they're after him right here. And he says, "Well, if you don't hold still, I'm liable to drop you. Deathstalker never said he wanted you alive anyhow." And he's like, "Deathstalker?" And if I remember right, Deathstalker is a really old character too. But I think from like issue 138 and then before that too in like 49 or something. I can't remember, but I think he's a really old character.
There's editor's notes because they do the flashback in a few pages, at the graveyard there.
Yeah.
And
maybe it tells us there.
Yeah, I think there's like, editor Bob or something has a little footnote, but I don't think it's about Deathstalker. It's about Deathstalker, but it's not. It's about Deathstalker's previous incarnation.
Okay. We'll look when we get to it. But yeah, he's like, Deathstalker's a psychopathic, cold-blooded murderer. He's an inhuman killer. He's just trying to use you for his own purpose. And then they're like, well, he's going to pay us enough money, so we would have got Daredevil anyway.
We're getting paid. We don't care.
Exactly. I do like the tombstone. Did you read what the tombstone says in this issue?
No, I might have. Oh yeah, Michael Murdoch. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Matthew Michael Murdoch, may he burn in hell. Tell us how you really feel. Don't hold anything back.
Yeah.
But so they get to the cemetery and they're all ranting and raving and they're waiting for the Deathstalker, who apparently is late to his own kidnapping victim pickup, and he finally shows up.
He was picking up 6 heads in a duffel bag.
Something, because they say it's $100,000. So he's like, I've got enough money for you and your friend, and he gives them 2 giant duffel bags, and it's $100,000. I mean, he could have got it in hundreds. It wouldn't have been that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what did he do? He got it in 20s or 5s. I mean, that's a lot of damn money.
He's been saving up.
He's been saving up. He's like that guy that went and bought the damn car and paid for it with pennies and nickels.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. I've been waiting for you with small arms, or with open arms, shall we say. Yeah, here it is, DD 41.
Mm-hmm.
41
so when he was the other character before Dee knocked him through that hole in space there.
Space and time, yeah.
I'm reading this. I'm like, where the hell is Doctor Who?
Damn it.
Because I was actually watching Doctor Who, like classic Doctor Who on Pluto TV was playing while I was sitting here at the computer reading this.
Yeah, please tell me you're not watching modern Doctor Who.
No. I stopped after Capaldi.
I couldn't make it through Capaldi.
I didn't at first. I had to go back like 3 or 4 times to, get through it. But I eventually did. A couple of the, they were like some real stinkers in there, but they were like, I think they were like close to like half the episodes were actually, were all right to good, and a couple of them were like, quirky, funny. Like I got a kick out of the Robin Hood episode, but
he should have stayed on. You remember when BBC was doing Three Musketeers?
yep, I watched that too. That was awesome.
And Capaldi was the freaking Cardinal. He was Cardinal Richard.
Yeah, then they killed him there so he could come over here. Oh, why?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyhow, what was his silly name? Pinky Iridero here.
Let me look right quick. The gloved hands. Blah, 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 blah. The Exterminator.
The Exterminator.
Yep. Really?
Man, I would have slept him through a hole in time and space too. The Exterminator. Get out of here.
Yeah.
You put no effort into this name.
None. Yeah. Do you put that little termite thing around the yard?
I mean, I know we're in New York and there's like lots of rats, and those are just, in City Hall, but come on.
Yeah. So he gets knocked through time and space, and using his he gets stuck in limbo, and he can do anything, and all the secrets for his taking. So he goes and gets some stuff from AIM, and that's our advanced idea mechanics. Huh?
I knew that one too.
Oh, you knew that one too?
Yeah, I knew that one too.
Which I linked electronically to my gloves. For matter to entirely escape the torment of my timeless existence. Reconstruct my T-ray form from bits and pieces, but he can't. So he's stuck in this limbo. He can only come back to the actual physical world for brief moments. And because of all this is why he wants to kill Daredevil. And because
that bottom panel, just before the big hand reaching out, all I'm thinking of this is what would happen if Phantom Stranger turned to evil.
Yes, it would, because that's exactly what he does. Dude, I love Phantom Stranger. They're using him in Justice League Dark now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we find out why he wants to kill DD. Oh, and then here's the other thing we were talking about. So he goes, freedom may be beyond your grasp, but not after you, the insufferable Avenger called Iron Man. Because of him, my former henchmen, the original Unholy Three, perished in a most untimely manner. So the second Unholy Three are
these guys here.
Yeah, these guys. So Iron Man, who I only buy Iron Man comics most of the time when he's getting his tail beat, because for some reason that's the best Iron Man, when somebody's beating the hell out of him. But he managed to kill these three guys in Iron Man 116. So I may have to go back and see how he did that. But so they got he says our Night Stalker, Death Stalker, says unlike their more mercenary replacements, these guys are just loyal, and that's why they went after him when he said he'd give you $100,000. And they managed to tie DD up to a cross tombstone.
Mm-hmm. Which many issues later would be the same kind of cross tombstone he's hanging on to after Elektra's death.
Yep, he's over it. And I think that they do a Spider-Man cover similar to that too, where somebody died and he's on a cross tombstone that looks a lot like it.
Yeah, I think when Aunt May died before they got pelted with all the hate mail on the interwebs and brought her back.
Yeah. Well, hey, Superman, just from what I'm reading the new issue of Superman, nobody stays dead in comics. I think Ma and Pa Kent are back.
Oh, that's Brian Michael Bendis, that jackass.
Yeah, well, it started out good, and Action Comics went to hell.
Yeah, he brought Jor-El back to life, too.
Yeah, well, Jor-El's gone now again, but he's out of the story.
Yeah.
So
anyhow, back to Daredevil.
Daredevil's getting tied up there, he's trying to work himself free, and he's screaming and hollering at Deathstalker. He says, "You're sick. You need help." And Deathstalker's like, "Silence, counselor." And so Deathstalker turns, and he's going to go kill Catman and Gorilla Man. And DD actually tries to warn him. He says, "What's Murdoch talking about? It doesn't matter." And he's like, "Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure." So he just kills them. But you paid them, dude. Why even go through all this? They were going to take their money and leave. But
for the same reason in Grand Theft Auto, you pick up a hooker, and then when you're done making your cow bounce up and down, you kill her and get your money back.
Is that what it is? But he can go through time and space. He really doesn't need the money. But
that's all I ever did in that game anyhow.
I never played it. I do love how they're all like, he electrocuted them, so they're all like burnt to pieces. And then I'm too late. But he murdered them. But I've had enough time to get free. And Deathstalker's like, I just want you. No, Murdoch, I want Daredevil. So Matt just decides, okay, well, let me change clothes right quick in front of everybody.
Well, these two fools are dead. And they were the only two there that didn't know Murdoch was Daredevil. Deathstalker already knew because he's walking around in limbo.
Yep.
So he's been, soaking up like the Marvel Universe's secrets while he's been like, stealing technology to be able to do stuff.
I think I would have played the stock market and found a way to come back, as Jeff Bezos in the normal world.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like how at the bottom down here, he says, this is for those who aren't familiar, DD has radar vision. Hopefully everybody that's listening knows that. Says, I got to be careful. Deathstalker is a fraction of a second at a time just to blur my radar sense. And then he realizes that when he becomes physical, then he kind of clears up.
He clears up a little bit. You can hear his heartbeat and footsteps.
Yep. And then here comes Deathstalker. And they begin their fight.
And these fight scene pages were just great.
Oh yeah, I mean they're great. And this is one of the things. And Miller gets better. And I know he's gotten really stylized now, kind of like JR, just not to that extent. But even, you can even say, it's, 7 or 8 years after this is when he did Dark Knight Returns. Mm-hmm. Even though that's very stylized in ways, it's still great comic book art. Even the stuff he did with Sin City is just great. He has just got such a sense of layout.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I can't remember. Did he do anything before this? Not with Marvel. I can't remember if he did anything before this.
I don't remember. I think this was his first pro work.
Really? But yeah, DD. I do love that that DD actually wears. You can tell he's wearing boots with Miller. It's just funny. But yeah, they get in this massive fight, and Deathstalker keeps trying to touch him, and DD just keeps trying to get out of the way. And
get out of the way. Yeah, I love the way he bounces, and they show the action by the light pink Daredevil.
Yeah, which we've talked about that. I love the old action scenes like that too. Yeah, it really shows what's going on. It's our slow-mo in comics.
Mm-hmm.
And he even throws Deathstalker throws his he electrifies this shovel and throws it at DD.
Yeah, and the ha 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 that came along with it. If you look real careful, it's almost like a Joker grimace up in that corner.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But DD notices that he can't keep jumping, and he recognizes there's a light there. I guess there's got to be no moon out, and they're in the cemetery, so they're away from any city lights, or the city lights are kind of far away. And there's probably some light too, because the light is above the. If you look right here, it's on this wall. So I'm taking the cemetery is actually walled off. But so Dee Dee knocks out the light. There's an angel. Don't blink. And then manages to just lay into freaking Deathstalker, and he's beating the living snot out of him.
Yeah, and he becomes tangible when he activates the death gloves there.
Yep.
And then, Matt can grab his wrists to do what he can to hold the hands away from him to not die.
Yeah. Well, not only that, he hits him with the billy club and all this. There he lays into him right there, hits him so hard he knocks the freaking head off the statue.
Yeah.
My hands. Spacow. There's your good. All those.
That's an ass whooping, is what that is.
So, what is it? What is that called? I can't remember what they call those now. Spacow and the whack.
Sound effects.
Well, I know they're sound effects, but they have another name for them too. I can't remember now. But so Deathstalker's gotten so mad because Dee Dee's pissing him off, beating him up so bad. He leaps at him and goes through this. And I had to look at this twice when I read it, because I don't know if I didn't catch it, but I had to look at it twice. He jumps at him through this freaking gravestone, and is trying to choke him so much that he becomes physical and dies in the damn gravestone.
Mm-hmm.
His body's just left there. And Dee Dee's always, oh, may God have mercy on his soul. He was a madman, but he didn't deserve to die like that. Think about replacing that. Then people are going to be pissed. But yeah, it's a beautiful, simple fight scene. You got good characters. The art's great. It's easy to read. The story was wonderful. And then I love how it's just comics can do this. I know we've talked about it before. They can stop on one page and then
boom, next scene.
Yeah, exactly. No other medium can do this. And then it's back at the storefront, lawyer's office they're at.
Yep.
So Matt comes back and he's talking to everybody. Are you sure you're all right? I'm fine. A little tired. There's Matt. There's Foggy. He's got some stuff on his head. And, it's like, it's been a long day. Call it quits. And Murdoch goes to the next room. He's like, I've still got some stuff to do. And so I heard a rustling. It's like Natasha. And then here's this lady. I can't remember her name. In the wheelchair. Must be my imagination. It's like, Natasha. Oh, here you're being crude later. So here's Frank Miller being crude, or the writer. Mm-hmm. Oh, Matt, I know I'm not half the woman she is, but I'll always be here.
Well, it's not like you're going to get up and run away.
Damn it!
Hey, I'm in a wheelchair too, so I can say that shit.
You're going to get us banned from Facebook. Panic on the Pier. I actually have a couple copies of the next issue, the second Frank Miller.
Mm-hmm.
I bought one off a guy from eBay, and it was like super nice copy, and I got it for dog cheap. This is years and years ago. And he was like, very fine near mint. I can't remember what I paid for it. It's got a classic cover with Daredevil fighting a guy in the water. And it got to the house, and I was thumbing through it, reading it. And I'm like, man, I'm so glad to finally have an issue of this. And there's a freaking coupon cut in the book. And I emailed him. I'm like, dude, very fine to near mint doesn't mean a damn coupon is cut that affects the story. Doesn't mean a coupon is cut at all. And he was nice enough to refund me, I think, almost all my money, if not all of it. And I bought another one later on. But so I've got a coupon cut on it.
Well, my buddy, I'm not sure if I told you this or not, my buddy Steve, his neighbor found an old box of comics that he forgot about in like the back of his garage.
Yeah.
And he let Steve go through. He goes, take a look through. I'm sure a couple of these are worth like a few bucks or something. And so the first book he pulls out,
Yeah.
Hulk 181.
Holy
and
Jesus.
it still has the Marvel value stamp. It's a little beat up, but hey, thanks for the thumbs up. It's a little beat up, but a lot of that'll come out in like a good cleaning and a press too. So, and just the fact that it still has the value stamp is like, boom, double.
Well, I've got a Hulk 181, and I got mine years and years ago, and mine's beat up. And it's one of those, like you're saying, a cleaning and a press will do it wonders. And I've been debating on doing that. And I'm seeing them now, in the condition I've got mine in without the value stamp, and people are like, $1,000 today. Really? I actually got banned. I'm off one of the Facebook groups that buy and sell comics because back before I knew how to keep my mouth shut, I went off on somebody. I'm like, there's no way in hell that Hulk is worth that with the value stamp cut.
Oh yeah, they get all butthurt, and they don't even say anything to you. They just like ban and block you.
Yeah, so I got banned off that. I can't remember which comic book site it was, but yeah, I told somebody, I said, dude, there's no way in hell. If that's the case, mine's worth 15 times that because the damn cover's attached and it has the value stamp. The value stamp is Sheena in that issue, I think. Sheena the She-Devil.
Yep. Yes, you are correct.
So what is that? What do you think the rating on this one is?
Well, it's the first Frank Miller, so that that gives it a little bonus cred.
Yeah.
But I'll give this one 3.5 out of 5.
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah, 3.5, 4 out of 5. Yeah, I'll go with that. It's Miller gets better. Daredevil gets better from here. This is only the beginning of the greatness that's to come. The one thing that I did notice when I was actually, when I sent you the PDF after I got it, did you notice this issue is kind of short?
Yeah.
It's like 4 issues. It's like there's 4 pages missing. So, yeah, I know it's a regular story, a regular comic, but I guess they had some extra ads, or I don't know. Maybe Miller was running.
Either ads, or there might have been like a preview for how they'd put like a few pages of a preview of another book or something in the middle.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, it was good. It was at the beginning and end there was a little too much soap opera-ness.
Yeah.
If they could have cut the drama queens in half, it probably would have been a lot better. But it is what it is. You figure you got Black Widow, who's another superhero.
Yeah.
Kind of, and it's just a superhero that goes around shooting people with guns. And then you got Matt's girlfriend in the wheelchair, and you got Foggy, and then the other 2 girls, and the other 2 girls could actually be each of their secretaries.
Yeah.
I don't know because we didn't read the prior issue. We just read the actual issue we chose to do.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, there was a little soap opera, especially in the front. And there's a little in the back, but and I've told my wife this, and I've told a lot of people this. Comic books are, especially if you read them, they're almost the male superhero, or the male
soap opera.
Yeah, only in print form. And I kind of like some of this. I like the well-rounded, extra characters. It's one of the reasons why I really got into Thor. I mean, the fact that he has so many good characters around him that they can have their own little stories. So I kind of like it. But now, if the thing that makes this extra is, you got all the soap opera and you got the well-rounded extra characters that are helping the story. But then when you follow on, I think it was one of our second, third podcast we did when we were doing OK Boomer. We did Daredevil 220, which is one of my favorite issues. And if you follow along, here's Heather. But in 220, we know what happens to Heather. And that's, she's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So,
oh, yeah. Isn't that the alcoholic?
Yep. By that time, she's an alcoholic.
And not in a wheelchair.
Nope, she's not in a wheelchair. And the thing but no, Heather's not in a wheelchair here. That's what I'm saying. I can't remember the girl in the wheelchair's name.
Oh, I thought that was Heather. That's my mistake.
No. Yeah, now Heather is Heather's this girl right here.
Oh, the one that that would make sense because she knows Matt's Daredevil too. So
yep. Well, I mean, so does she.
Yeah.
But I can't remember her name for the life of me. And the fact I don't think all of them originally had black hair, all three of these women, but I don't know why it's all black hair, but that makes it hard to tell who's who to a degree. Especially, I guess, between these two. But I think this is Foggy's love interest. I can't remember her name. But Foggy got into a terrible relationship. He married some lady that was off the damn rocker. But like I said, Heather kills herself in 220. And then you look at Karen in Born Again, which we were talking about earlier. It opens with Karen, and she's hooked up on drugs and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he's had like Daredevil's had like four girlfriends, wives, lovers that are all dead.
Yeah. There's 4 women in that bottom panel. They all know Matt Murdock is Daredevil. It's almost like Alfred went, left the cave and went to the law office and been like, "Hey, did you know?"
Damn it.
So, what do you want to choose for next week?
Actually, I just got it in. I was telling you before the show, I got a huge stack of books from my buddy, and this one's on top. I remember, I told my wife earlier, I remember buying this when I was a kid. This is back when I first started buying comics, or shortly thereafter. I found it back when you could buy comics at the gas station. There was a little grocery store that actually had them, and the comics always got pushed down in the rack, and they just keep piling books on top of them. So if you go to the store, you could take all the comics out and all the new books out, and then dig down in the little the cubbies where they store the books. And you find all beat up comics, and then you just go pay for them or whatever. I mean, this is back, you got what you paid for, or not got what you paid for, but got whatever was there. It didn't matter. And I just looked at it, and this is X-Men 205.
Barry Windsor Smith cover.
Yeah. You know what else is good about this? I didn't realize it until I opened it up a while ago. It's Barry Windsor Smith's story and art.
Sweet. I know I have that issue, but of course it's not here.
Damn it, dude. If anybody doesn't know, but everybody listening to this should know, Barry Windsor Smith is one of the greats, and I didn't know this was a complete by him story. So X-Men 205, just a random issue. I got, as William always fusses, I'm a DC Marvel guy. We were talking before the show. This is my mail call for today. I don't know how many books it is, but a bunch.
There's a shit ton of comics there. Let's call it 50. Let's call it 100 books.
Okay.
And there's 99 Marvel and 1 DC.
That's right. There's 1 DC comic here. That's it.
Let me buy all these and throw me a token DC so I don't look like a snob.
I know that sounds terrible, but hey, I like what I like, man.
Oh,
All right, so I'll get that over to you, and then we'll do next week X-Men 205.
And what did you rate it?
Me, yeah, so I'll go with you 3.5, 4. It's a really great book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Miller's art gets better, the story gets better. It's just overall, this is and maybe it's getting a solid 4 from me because I know what's coming next. I know everything that happens after this. And I mean, it's just incredible. And the fact that, like I said, we talked earlier, the fact that Marvel just was thinking about canceling the book until he took over and just made it what it was.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But there's a number of great comics. I mean, it's like the over in DC. I like Power Girl. Okay, everybody likes Power Girl. If you don't like Power Girl, you're lying.
Or gay.
Do what? But I read kind of the same thing with the editors over there. I read a story one time, and because Wally Wood created Power Girl, and somebody was asking why she's so well endowed, her breasts are so big, and he said basically he didn't think nobody was paying attention to the book, so every issue when he drew her breast a little bit bigger, until the editors actually come to him and said, "What's up with her breast?" And that's it went on for like 7 issues, and at that point is when he said, "Okay, well, that's the size they have to be for people to notice them." And it went on from there.
It's like they're magical.
But yep. So if you see an original issue of Power Girl or first appearance of Power Girl, her breasts are not what we normally expect them to be, and that's because the editors weren't paying attention.
I know. I've got a few years ago they did the Harley Quinn Power Girl series, like a mini series.
Yeah.
And it was a variant, and I bought the variant because apparently the context of it is, Power Girl got out of her super suit and went and took a shower.
Yeah.
And came back like she was either in a towel or wearing Harley Quinn's outfit because Harley tried on the suit, but was like holding it like way out here and just like looking down and coming up with a sad face,
Oh man, that Power Girl series from a couple years ago was by Amanda Connor and Palmati, I think it is. That's one of my favorite reads of all time. Dude, that issue where she has to go to the comic book shop, she loses the bet with the little kid, and he has to take her to the comic book shop, and the cover, she's just looking like Jesus, and he's like, "Yep, that's right, she's with me." But all right then, so we'll be back next week. We're gonna try and do the same time.
Yep, look at the same time next week, and we'll dive into Uncanny X-Men number 205.
Yep.
Until then, this is Will.
And this is Thomas.
And we'll see you next time on OK.